So we were in a position where I guess my background is I've got a reasonable salary. I pay a lot of tax given my salary, and also I've got a super fund which I've got like a little super company set up, but it's not doing very much. And so I wasn't earning a lot of money in there. I had some shares sitting in it, and it's just been pretty lackluster. So we're looking at, are there other options and things for us to be able to improve our situation? I'm going to be retiring in 10 years' time, and I just want to make sure that we don't need to be really wealthy, but I'd like to be comfortable when I retire and make sure that we're going to be well looked after when we retire. So I was looking around at what sort of options there were. And one of the things that I've really struggled with, because I don't really have a finance background and I'm not overly interested in all of the financials, was to find some people who could help me. But when I've looked at these types of people before, typically you find someone who's good at something, and so like a good accountant, and then you'll find someone who's good at setting up a mortgage, and then you'll find someone who can give you some advice, particularly on shares. And then, but they're all discreet. And what I found as a real problem for me is that there's no one who can sort of package it all up and say, if you want to do it, you've got a property option or you've got a shares option, that type of stuff. Or pull it all together so the people are helping you with your mortgage are the people who understand all the tax setups and the people who can sort of give you some financial advice around how to maximise what you've got to get the most out of it. And so I've just been through a big process where I've got a new accountant who I thought was really good. I got someone who I thought was really good at helping me set up my mortgage, and we just started to work through buying a property with my wife. And anyway, again, I was just struggling because I didn't feel that there was synergy between all of the different components, which probably sounds a bit strange, but I think when I met the team from Landmark, it was interesting because what they spoke about was, first of all, they were really good at property. Property is something that I've been interested in. I've had shares for quite a long time and they haven't really done that much for me. I've had a couple of little properties and they've always grown, and so I felt comfortable with property. When I spoke to the team from Landmark, they were talking to me about some property options, but they were also talking to me about almost the full end-to-end process. So it's the purchasing of the property, the financing, how you set up the mortgages, how you manage your tax and all of the things that sit around that. They're talking to me about property outside of super and property within super and how to do all of that. And what I found was, as I listened to this, I could see how there was nothing magic in it, but it just all flowed. And because of that, the synergies that sit inside end up becoming, well, in my mind, much greater than, all of those discrete pieces. And so I felt sort of really comfortable at that stage that I'd finally found a team who could help me with that full process. And, some of the things that the Landmark team were talking about, they also make it quite easy because they handle a lot of this themselves. They can help you find good mortgages. They can help you find good properties. They protect you a bit with your rental, so it feels safer for me. Makes it easier. I'm pretty time poor with my work and don't want to spend a huge amount of time dealing with property and, tenants and all of that sort of stuff. And I'm also quite nervous about things like, if there's no tenants, can we manage our cash flow and all of that type of thing. So the team from Landmark seem to have a process where they understand a lot of these concerns and they've got little safety nets in place to make it easy for me as a relatively inexperienced investor to sort of come in and feel reasonably confident that I can be protected through this process and maximise my investments, if that makes sense, to help me get to where I need to get to. So anyway, I spoke to them about that and then I went back to see them and I met some of the other members of the team. And these guys are just fantastic. They are so experienced, so dedicated, very friendly, and have been a fantastic help for us. I provided a bit of information to Landmark, and they basically took that information and within a very short time knew more about my investment strategies than what I did. And then they were able to sort of take that and guide me in a way that I was sort of comfortable with the pace that I was comfortable with. And as I gained confidence with them, I was able to accelerate that to a point where we bought quite a few properties through them. When I started on the journey, my wife and I had just bought a little block of land up in Diggers Rest, and we thought that was really good, you know. And the way that we were doing it, with our own experience, we were, I guess, thinking that we'd maxed out our opportunity with this, but it was good, we were quite happy with it. But talking to the team at Landmark, they took that and then they've built, quite a big portfolio, something that I never dreamed we would be able to do, without any real financial impact for myself. So that's been really good. So what's happened in the end? I think we ended up breaking the record with the most number of properties that were purchased in the shortest period of time. And part of that was because the end of the financial year was coming, but also the changes to the rules in stamp duty. So we were able to maximise that, and we've saved a lot of money in stamp duty by buying quite a few properties reasonably quickly. The team at Landmark were very busy during this period because I think quite a few people were trying to do this. But amazingly, they always seemed to have time when I rang and I was concerned about anything. When we had opportunities, they would always be there, ready to talk, even on weekends and late at night, to help us with our concerns. They provided us with a lot of information. So they even did things like cash flow projections for us and for each of the properties. So we're able to see that how they were structured, how they were geared, all of that sort of stuff. And that gave us a lot of confidence with that information to be able to take the next step and then the next step and the next step. I'm inherently nervous about people who claim to have, a magic system or something like that to help you make money. I found with the Landmark team that once I started talking to them, that what they provide isn't a magic system. It's just being able to use the existing structures, doing things very smarter than what I can do or know about, because they've got so much experience in that space. So they can, they know how to set up the mortgages to maximise that. They know how that works with your tax. So they structure things with the end in mind, if you like. And then based on the way that they do it, we were able to buy a lot of properties. And I didn't realise that we even could do that. So now I've got a superannuation portfolio that I can look at, and I feel more confident that we're actually going to be able to get to where we need to get to be able to manage ourselves in the future. So I think there's a bucket load of reasons why we liked using Landmark. I think the other thing too, my wife and I wanted to do this together. So we did that, and we both went on the journey together through this. And my wife is also quite inherently nervous about who and how looks at our accounts, spends our money, or helps us spend our money. And she was very confident with the people that she was dealing with too, and very comfortable. Some of the people in the office are just fantastic to deal with, and very, very knowledgeable. And you feel comfortable, you feel at ease, and you feel like you can trust them when you're dealing with them. So that gave us the confidence to be able to move forward with what we were doing. Well, it's been pretty amazing, actually. It's been an amazing journey over the last 2 months, I think. Between when we first contacted Landmark, was about 6 to 8 weeks ago, I think now, we ended up we've bought 4 properties outside of super, and they're all sitting around, between $600,000 and $400,000 properties, and we've purchased 3 inside super. So inside our little super company, we've got 3 bear trusts set up, and 3 properties sitting inside there. So that's 7 properties overall, which has been pretty exciting. We never thought we'd be able to do that. Oh, and subsequent to that too, we've referred them to our daughter's boyfriend, who is a young bloke. He's just bought his first investment property through the team at Landmark as well. And as it turns out, we've got a property just next door. So, yeah, it's good. That's a small townhouse, and that's his first investment. And so he's very happy about that as well. And the team there, actually, they were very busy and spent a lot of time with him explaining how it all works and helping him to understand and give him some confidence about, doing this.